Have a great day. And so John Kindervag will be coming to stage. He is the creator of the Zero Trust model. A lot of you have talked a lot about Zero Trust and implemented it. He's really, I think, the thought leader that's helped to kind of bundle it. And that's something that I've noticed in the talk tracks in our industry, especially some of the better ones. It's not just, are you good at cyber? Do you understand how to organize it, how to communicate it? We talk a lot about that. How do we communicate it within the organization, up to leadership, even to the board level? So it's not just being a good practitioner, it's how do we talk about the industry and communicate it. John is currently the chief evangelist at Illumio, leading cybersecurity expert, and has contributed significantly, and that's an understatement, to our industry. He spent over 8 years with Forrester, and so he literally has written the book on a lot of what we do today and how we practice cybersecurity. If you would, please join me in welcoming John to stage.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. Michael, thank you. Sam, wherever Sam is. Sam. Oh, hey, there you go. I've known Sam forever. So this is not a zero trust speech. And the clicker is not working. Look at that. Click. It's got battery and everything. What can I say? Help? Okay, this is not a zero trust speech, which is weird because last week was the 14th anniversary of publishing No More Chewy Centers, the first zero trust report ever written. But this is more important to me, right? This is about humanity. This is about why we do what we do. And so this is about risk is danger. I'm going to be talking about risk management, cybersecurity risk, why it's all wrong. This, I know, is going to be a hot button topic, controversial, and we'll deal with that. But I want to go back in time a few years to this young man. This is my nephew. He was 4 years old in this picture. His name is Stephen Danger Kent. His middle name is Danger. And what a wonderful kid. But then what happened? Well, he got a cancer, neuroblastoma. I was not familiar with neuroblastoma when it happened. It's a cancer of the nerve cells. And this cancer, he had a less than 1% chance of getting neuroblastoma. The risk profile of getting neuroblastoma is so low, he should have never gotten it. But he did, right? That also means that, that all of the risk modeling was wrong. He shouldn't have gotten it. But he did, and so then he had to fight. Now, warning, this next slide is graphic, but it's important to see what happens when risk is wrong. This is the tumor that they took out of him. One end was wrapped around his aorta, the other end was wrapped around his spine. He had to go through 8 rounds of chemotherapy in order to get it soft enough that they could peel it out and remove it. And so imagine a 4-year-old, that's the entire center of a 4-year-old. It had a tumor in it. This is a big deal. And so he was given a 2% chance of survival. Let me put it in our terms, 98% chance of dying. I remember the day that we found this out as a family, and we were all at his house, and there were a lot of tears, and it felt like a death sentence, and everybody was trying to, buck it up, and maybe he has 6 months, 9 months. Well, we'll just make them the best months we can. And I remember my wife said something that just blew me away, so profound. She says, God doesn't believe in probabilities. And it started making me think about probability. And I've spent a lot of time since then studying and thinking about probability because she's right, God doesn't believe in probabilities, and sometimes we put too much weight on probabilities. And so 2% chance of survival, this little kid fought. Here he is in an MIBG room. It stands for that long word up there. I can't say that word, right? But he was injected with radiation into his body. He was so radioactive, there is a lead wall there, separating him between him and the family. So his mom could only go in and see him like 20 minutes at a time when she was dressed up like she was going into a nuclear reactor, right? And it was a very hard time to be 4 years old. She couldn't hug him. He couldn't sit on her lap. This was just a horrible, horrible experience. And oh, by the way, just because you're injected with radiation does not mean you become Spider-Man. We have disproven that here. All the people who've had cancer, you don't get to be Spider-Man. Maybe you get the outfit, but you don't get to be Spider-Man. But he fought. And this is what you do when you're up against the wall with some kind of bad news, with risk, with some sort of challenge. This kid fought, and he was always cheery. When I would go see him at home, you know, we measure things in cybersecurity, don't we? It's all, if we can't measure it, it doesn't exist. And so I would say, Stephen, how you doing today? He said, pretty good. I only throwed up twice today. That was his measurement of how good he was doing. I only throwed up twice. Amazing. That kid just, like, I couldn't deal with his attitude because it was so positive. And then he got to meet some cool people. Look at that. He was with this guy. I hope everybody in this room knows who that is. I shouldn't have to tell you. But no parents or anybody was allowed to go in. And so when he came out, his dad asked him, hey, Stephen, who'd you get your picture taken with? And he says, I don't know, but the nurses were sure excited. So in our world, we all learn from the beginning that risk equals probability times impact. Anybody else a recovering CCISP in the room other than me? I quit paying my dues years ago, right? We learn all this stuff, but we don't think about it. What about probability? Like we don't even know the impact. Let's not even talk about that. But probability, how would we know the probability of what's going to happen in cybersecurity? You know, I spent like 20 years trying to build actuarial tables on this and couldn't do it. And I realized probability doesn't work in our industry. And so risk doesn't work in our industry, but we're so in love with the world we can't give it word that we can't give it up. I had somebody say to me, well, risk is stochastic, you know, and that's a $10 word that just means to guess. We're just guessing. That's all we're doing. Kentucky windage, that sounds good, right? That's what we're doing in our world. So risk is actually danger. That's what I learned from Stephen Danger Kent, that risk is danger. You see, there's three things that have to happen in cybersecurity for us to suffer an attack. First, there has to be proximity. The attacker is always proximate to us because of the internet, right? In 1939, Hitler had to move his armies up against the border of Germany, or the border of Poland in order to invade. He had to become proximate. In the physical world, you have to be proximate. That's never a problem in cybersecurity. We are always proximate. Secondly, you have to have potential. Does the attacker have the ability and the capability to attack us? Do they have the tools, techniques, and personnel? Can anybody say eternal blue? Right? We even build the tools for the attackers. Aren't we nice? And then finally, if one or two are true, then a cyber attack is imminent. Imminence is a big thing that we don't think about. I was talking with a friend of mine, a former Navy SEAL, and he was talking about when they were going into combat in Afghanistan, they did a 4-level risk assessment. Level 1 and 2 were, yeah, we're okay. Level 3 and 4, it's imminent, danger, lock and load, there's going to be a gunfight. Well, that's what we are. We're in a gunfight every single day in this industry, and we have to have a warrior mindset, not a passive mindset where we think we can do risk management because we can't. Because our attacker is proximate, they have the capability, and an attack is imminent. So there is nothing that can be done to stop an attack other than the will of the attacker, right? We can't do anything to stop the attack from starting. It's just up to the will of the attacker. If they want to attack us, they can. And we just have to prevent that attack from being successful. That's what Zero Trust does. So the big idea, the big takeaway from this is we need to use the term danger, not risk. And I'm going to talk about why that's so important. We need to get away from risk management, right, and move to danger management. My friend, the late, great Steve King, said to me one time, our industry started going in the tank when the accountants got involved, right? And I always wondered, how did we let the accountants in? because they took these financial modeling things that never worked. Who remembers the 2008 crash and Black Scholes and all that stuff? They didn't work then in financial modeling, but let's bring them into cybersecurity, and then we can spend a lot of money writing reports for people. So this is what we have to do. We have to change our mindset, because risk comes out of gambling. Are you gambling on your cybersecurity? Right? This is the thing. We have to get a different mindset, so we need to move towards danger management. Don't think in terms of a risk in terms of probabilities. Think of that same idea, but think of it in terms of danger. Danger is a big thing. So there's 3 responses that you can have to risk, and we all know this. The first one is to mitigate the risk, what you should do. You should always mitigate the risk, but we don't. Transfer the risk, what you can't do. You cannot transfer risk. I'm sorry, not in cybersecurity. We can do it on my roof in my house with the insurance company. Everybody who lives in Texas knows that you don't put on a new roof until the hailstorm comes, right? But it doesn't work that way, because you are always responsible for the data that's stolen, even if it's being held in a cloud or outsourced to a third-party credit card processor or whatever. And then finally, accept the risk. That's the thing you will do. So if mitigating risk costs money, then the business will typically choose to accept it, and this is unacceptable. It is unacceptable to accept risk. That is the bottom line. I know I'm going to get a lot of haters about that, but I'm used to that. I still get haters on Zero Trust 14 years later. So I'm used to the haters. So we have to get rid of this concept of risk. We need to move to danger management and find the danger zone, right? In cybersecurity, the only acceptable response to risk is to consider it danger and mitigate it. Remember, when the MiGs are 150 miles away from the carrier and they've already shot down Woodman and Iceman is in a rolling dogfight, you got to launch Maverick off of Alert 5, because the fight's going to be over in 2 minutes, not 10. You have to have a sense of urgency that we don't have in our business. And by the way, there's no highway to the risk zone, right? We can at least have good music, finally. So, let me ask you a question. How many sides does your die have? You know, this all comes from dice. Everything we're doing starts with dice. It actually starts with the knuckles of sheep. This whole business of risk management started with sheep knuckles, of all things. And so you need to read Taleb's book, Anti-Fragile. I think one of the most important books in cybersecurity, even though it isn't about cybersecurity, it's about critical thinking. But in his book, Anti-Fragile, he says this: imagine a dice with unknown sides. You can roll it and get any result, but you have no idea what the probabilities are. This is the world we live in. You have no idea what the probabilities are, so you can't do risk equals probability times impact. You can't do it. It's not possible. And you know what's funny is I've been messaging this internally to friends and talking to a lot of people. I found that there are a lot of people, well-known people in our industry, who are admitting to me that they've always been uncomfortable with the concept of risk management. But they felt like it was too sacrosanct to attack. And I guess I'm just too old to care anymore, because I've seen how many times it's failed. Risk management has a probability of failing 99% of the time. There you go. How many times has it failed? All the time. It constantly fails. So, this is risk. An outlet. It has potential to give you electricity. It doesn't shoot electricity out. You have to complete the circuit. So we don't think much about the outlets. You've walked around a bunch of them in your hotel, out here. We don't think much about it. This is danger. Do you get it? Completely different, isn't it? This is an AI-generated image because I didn't think I could convince my niece to let me pose one of her 6-month-old twins near an outlet. So I had to do it that way. But danger, you have urgency. You have a spirit of fight when you look at it from that way. Danger is active. Risk is passive. So we need to move to danger management, because we don't want that little kid to get hurt. We forget sometimes as we're in the throes of technology and data and computers and technology and GPUs and DPUs and AI and all the buzzwords, that the real reason we do this is for people. If we're not doing this for people, then why are you in this business? We're here to protect human beings, not computer systems. Whenever there's a data breach, I hear people go, that wasn't a very big one. That was only 2 million records. There is a human being behind every single record, and we need to remember that. We have a mission. We have a mission that's important. The mission is the same mission that the military or law enforcement has, to protect and to serve. And so you need to take a mission-focused view of this. So let's come back to this story. 4-year-old Stephen Danger Kent, what happened? Tough few years. You know, been reliving it here lately, getting ready for this speech. But remember, he had less than a 1% chance of getting neuroblastoma. His risk was infinitesimally small. And he had a 2% chance of survival. 98% chance of dying is what the doctors told us. When you hear that, that is devastating. That rips your heart out like nothing else that I've ever experienced. And I'd only watched this from the sideline. I wasn't even a particularly active participant. I'm just watching this, and I'm torn up. But then we learned a new acronym. We're into acronyms, aren't we? NED, no evidence of disease. This kid beat cancer. Here he is. Let me introduce my nephew, Stephen Danger Kent.
That's me. Okay. Hi, guys. My middle name is Danger, like he said, despite the doubts from every single kid I've ever gone to school with. It even says that on my name tag, so it's official. I want to start by thanking you guys for listening to my uncle tell my story. It means really a lot to me to be able to come here today and talk about something really important to me, which is childhood cancer awareness. When you hear childhood cancer awareness, it almost seems kind of unnecessary, right? Because it's something everyone can get behind. No one wants kids to get sick, right? But pharmaceutical companies are working less to invest in research for new therapies against childhood cancer because of low population numbers with people who have it. And to that, I want to say kind of my big thing for what I'm about to talk about, which is I don't want your kids to be numbers. I have fought my whole life not to be a number. And that is a privilege because, as I know, and as my mom knows, all the kids that we knew when I was sick are not able to have that fight for themselves now. And that is why I'm so happy to be here today, because I want you all to be able to put a face to the name, and you can all see me for Stephen rather than a number. But even for people like me who did survive, 60% of pediatric cancer survivors experience serious complications for the rest of their lives. For me, I have high-frequency hearing loss and just recently stopped growth hormone shots that went on for, I think, like 6 years. And I have to live with that fear every day. I have to wake up and hope that my body will still work as good as it did the day before. And that is why childhood cancer awareness is so important. It's important because kids are dying, and those that don't continue to hurt for the rest of their lives. These cancers are largely unpreventable, and I know that because that my mom would have done every single thing she could to make sure that it was prevented. And, you know, speaking of my mom, can we actually get a round of applause for my mom? Can we get a round of applause? My mom is, without a doubt, the strongest person that I know. I'm up here talking today, but truly, of everything that happened to me when I was young, I remember maybe 10% of as much as she does. And throughout everything, she has continued to be my biggest supporter. She's someone that I know is always in my corner, and she's taught me to find the passion and the power in my anxiety and find the humor in my struggles. For example, when I was 6, she called me vampire skeleton like every day behind my back, which like we could argue is messed up, but it's okay. And I just am forever grateful for her and for my entire family for being there for me. And speaking of mothers who have gone through the worst of it and continued to make something amazing out of something so awful and so hard, I'm proud to introduce the co-founders of Wade's Army, a nonprofit that has been fighting neuroblastoma successfully for 12 years. Can Heather DeBruin and Kate Welburn come on up here?
Hi, thank you all for being here. My name is Heather DeBruin, and Kate and I founded Wade's Army after I lost my son, Wade, to neuroblastoma, and I want to thank John, and I want to thank Stephen, and Illumio, and everybody else here for giving us this opportunity to talk about some of the things that we've accomplished. Wade's Army was specifically founded to give neuroblastoma a name because there's approximately 800 kids diagnosed with it every year, but it's accountable for one of the larger percentages of pediatric deaths. So Wade's Army funds progressive cancer research specifically for pediatrics, and we also like to fight alongside families who have been diagnosed with neuroblastoma.
John has been a steadfast partner in our mission to change the outcome for children with neuroblastoma. With the generous support of Illumio and John and Leanne and their family, Wade's Army has committed $250,000 to the world-renowned MD Anderson in a specific MIBG room for pediatric oncology right here in Houston. This will provide comfortable, specialized, and effective treatment for our smallest patients. Most important, having a treatment like this close to home means families don't have to travel across the country for these life-saving treatments. It means more time together, less financial strain, and a stronger support network of loved ones nearby during the most difficult time. Please join John and Illumio in their fundraising goal and donate to Wade's Army using the QR code on the screen. Please help us reach our goal and fund the MIBG room at MD Anderson.
Seems danger zone, y'all, right? You got to be in the danger zone. So right now, what's going to happen, Stephen?
I'm going to shave his head. Okay.
So be ready, Rob.
Here comes the banter. Okay.
Yes. And George Finney, come on up, grab a mic here, because George is here. And George Finney is my good friend. He is the CISO of the University of Texas Systems. And MD Anderson is part of that, right, George?
Indeed, they are a big part of our system.
And so we're excited that George can be here. And why are you here, George? Tell everybody what we're doing at 11:45 after I'm bald.
So you will get to have an autographed copy of our book, Project Zero Trust. So it came out a couple of years ago, but this is the first time John and I have ever done a combined book signing of the book. And
he wrote the book, but I just did the introduction, so I still get to sign one page. So there we go. So we're going to do this thing, because I am committed to this whole risk is danger concept. I'm committed to raising awareness for childhood cancer, especially neuroblastoma, and raising money. So don't forget to click on that QR code. It's big. You can take a picture of it. It's going to be at our booth. You can take a picture of it. So donate. I hope that I can expect the cybersecurity community to come through, because you always have in the past. Let's do this thing.
All right.
Because I've been nervous about this for a couple of weeks.
Me too. Okay.
Here we go.
All right.
Okay.
Are you shaving the beard as well,
No,
John?
we're not shaving the beard. No, thank you.
He said, don't go for the beard. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go. Here we go.
Am I doing it? Oh,
I don't know.
straight over. Okay, wait. Am I doing it? Wait.
I don't.
Oh, the guard is on. Work. Okay. Guys, okay.
There we go.
Rookie mistake. All right.
Hey, this is the part we haven't rehearsed.
Yeah.
This is the danger zone.
The danger zone.
Wait. I'm doing it. Okay.
Is it working? I can't see.
Looking
All
good.
right.
Looking good.
Thank you.
Is that blood? Just kidding.
Thank you. So you've never seen this at a keynote, have you? We just wanted to change it up a little bit. I mean, as you think about this kind of stuff, this just brings it home to how important everything is to what we actually do. I mean, we get too much in the weeds sometimes, and so remember that you're doing things for human beings, and what you do is important.
Fun fact, when I got my head shaved, I just thought that it was a haircut. I told my mom, I was like, this haircut's lasting a while. Who knew? Yes, okay, I figured it out.
Okay, good.
I was like, I don't know which way to go.
Well, we're all newbies at this, so. George, ask me something. Help me fill the void here, the silence.
So what's the definition of zero trust? We didn't cover that at the
We
beginning.
didn't cover that, no, we didn't. Zero Trust is a cybersecurity strategy designed to stop data breaches and make other cybersecurity attacks unsuccessful by eliminating trust from digital systems. How's that?
What's the one thing that you've found most surprising in the journey over the years about, as you've talked to people about zero trust?
How much leaders get it. I got a call last night that I have to go to a place and because a 3-star general wants to sit down and talk to me about it. I never thought that I would get a call that says, a 3-star general wants to talk to you. Are we done?
I think so. Hello.
Are we? Somebody tell me. Yeah, okay, all right, we're done. So.
It's perfect. There are no spots at all.
Excellent. So, there we go. We've got a tarp here. Come on over here. Let's do this. Let's get a picture with Stephen and the big cartoon check, because this is important stuff. We're going to be raising more money. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay. Scoot in, Stephen. There you go. Has anyone else in here had a kid with neuroblastoma? Ken Catstow. Wow, I did not know that. Born. Yes. And what's the outcome? She's 32. She's 32. Yeah. This is not a death sentence anymore. And things like this MIBG room are going to make it way more possible for more people to get healed. So I'm so excited to partner with you. Thank you so much, Heather. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're going to leave this on the screen so you can come up and take pictures and donate. And thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.